Hello, welcome. Give me just a minute. I like to get set up on my computer so that I can read your comments once you start popping in. And as soon as I see some people pop in, I will swipe off my comments so that I can see them on my computer. Bear with me just a second. Please say hello when you pop on. If you're brand new, please let us know so we can greet you. Bear with me just a minute. All right, let me get this muted as soon as I open it up. All right, I can see your comments. Hello, my name is Sarah, and I am the owner of Tenderfoot Village. Welcome to my page. I've been making gnomes since 2018, and I have lots of tutorials on YouTube. I have a couple of Facebook groups. I have a couple of very specifically gnome Facebook groups. So if you're interested in making gnomes, we have some really great supportive groups for that. My first group is called the Tenderfoot Villagers, and it is a free private group. And it is a wonderful place to learn and grow and be supportive of each other. It's just a great environment. There's a lot of sharing of information going on. We love to share. I'm a giver and I love to give. So come join us. That's Tenderfoot Villagers on Facebook. I also have a membership club, and that is called the TFV Makers Club, or TFV Gnome Makers Club. And there will be a link posted in the comments here shortly, but you can also find that if you go to visit tenderfootvillage.com. And I would love to show you a couple of things that we make right now, that we've been making, and then we'll get started making this awesome little Christmas tree gnome from the Dollar Tree. So bear with me just a second. Here is a little turkey gnome that we made recently in the TFV Makers Club. And we just made him last week, and it's $20 a month to be in the club, and you get access to all of my patterns and tutorials, all of them for free. And then you get discounts on kits and things like that when I do them. We are going to be doing a nutcracker in a couple of weeks, and so let me tell you about me really quick. One of the things about me is I love to show people how to take something that might look really complicated and break it down into small parts. And I feel like I do a good job of explaining so that you can really clearly understand and simplify something that looks really complicated. So my nutcracker looks really complicated, but he's actually not complicated. And we'll be doing that later on this month. And then this one we'll be doing as a pop-up live later this week over in the group. I think I'm going to add a little bit more bling to his skirt, or jacket, or whatever you want to call that. So, all right, y'all are here to learn how to make this one, so that's what we're going to do. I wanted to show y'all him plugged in really quick. He is made from almost all Dollar Tree items. His shoes are from Walmart. I do have a supply list in the description, so you should be able to find that pretty easily. His nose, so the nose that I'm going to be making is a fleece nose, and this material comes from Walmart. I buy a big yard of it, really, really cheap, and it's lasted me for I think 2 years, and I barely put a dent in it. And you'll see me grab a piece of it here in a minute. And then faux fur for his beard. His hat and mittens are a Dollar Tree scarf. And then I think the trim is the only thing that was not really from Dollar Tree, but Walmart does carry yarn and things like that. I would say, okay, another idea for the trim is, I will show you, you can use one of the Christmas hats. Or you can use the Dollar Tree white car cleaning mats. Those work amazing for trim. So just a couple little tidbits. This yarn that I'm going to be using is Yarn Bee. I got it at Hobby Lobby. Always use a coupon. The color on this one is Eternal Bliss White. Okay, and then his little present is a ornament from the Dollar Tree. But I'm also going to show you an alternative to the nose, so I don't want you to get hung up if you don't have any fleece material. You can use felt. You can also use a Christmas ornament. Okay, Also, let me just mention, the original idea from this tree gnome came from the Daily DIYer. You can find her video on YouTube. And she, at the time when she put hers out, you were able to get these really heavy-duty boots from Target in their dollar spot, and they were ceramic. So you can't get them, I don't think, anymore or this year, but also this alleviates the breakability factor as well. Okay, let's get started. So one of the first things I'm going to need are 2 of these. Excuse me just a second. Tanya said, will a wooden ball 1 1/4 work okay for the nose? I believe it'll work okay. It might be a little small just for the size of this gnome, but I like really big noses usually, and so you can definitely try it out, and then if not, you can use an ornament if you choose, but I think it might work. I would say go ahead and give it a shot. Okay, so we're going to need 2 of these, and I've already kind of separated one and gotten it ready, but I wanted to walk through this process with you. So really quick, I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Let me open another one because I want you to see. It has these, you know, stand pieces that hold it up inside that come with it. We don't need any of that, so I just throw that away. And if you like to save things for repurpose, these are fine to do that with, but we're not going to be needing them for this tutorial. So let me set that branch back away. Okay, here's our little mini tree from the Dollar Tree. And what I like to do is I like to choose a side, and look, it does have this string wrapped base, and I just add a little dot of hot glue because sometimes these get unwound. Let me get you down here with me so you can really see what's going on. Okay, so the first thing I like to do is kind of look at my tree and pick where I want to be the inside. And it looks a little flatter on this side for me, so you can kind of see that it's got a flatness to it. So this is the side I'm going to choose to keep flat. Let me angle the camera up just a little bit for you guys. Okay. All right, so what I do is I just pull all of these down and I work from the bottom up. And I just remember that I want that side to be flat. I don't want to pull those ones down. So I kind of force them to go in a different direction. My Dollar Tree only had the white trees. White trees are perfectly fine. I think you could make a really cute gnome. I would just choose a different colored beard instead of white, but I think it would be just fine. I think it would definitely work. So we're just going to continue doing this all the way up. Bear with me just a minute. Again, if you're new here, if this is your first time watching, please comment new so we can say hello to you. If you're watching live, you're welcome to comment live. If you're watching the replay later, say replay so we can get on here and comment and love on you a little bit. Hello, Miss Angela. Miss Angela is new. Well, welcome, welcome, welcome. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Okay, so I need to angle it up just a little bit so you guys can see me. Let me back out just a little. Bear with me. Okay, so when we get to this top long one, we're going to leave it out. We don't want to tuck that one down because we're going to use that to help us out. So I've turned the tree so you can kind of see what's happening and the shape that it's starting to take. So you notice this side is flat. So what we're going to do is once we've done that to 2 of them, we're going to take them flat to flat and put them together. So give me just a second while I look at it. And I stand mine on the table just to kind of make sure that they're even. And remember, we have those 2 pieces. We're going to use those to help us secure this tree together. So I'm just wrapping it around really tightly to the trees together because I want them to hold together. And then I'm going to choose one of these down here that you can't see. I'm just picking one kind of just wherever. And I'm going to wrap one of those around the base of that tree. Same thing we just did up higher, but I want to hold that together. new here. Danny is new here. Been watching your videos for years. You are the best teacher. You are so sweet. Thank you so much. Okay, so we have a great start to our little tree gnome. So now that we have this, we're going to go ahead and grab the shoes, which I actually probably should have done first because I think it's important to let them set a little bit before, so they have a chance to dry, and you'll see what I mean here in a second. So what we're going to need is, let me look in my little basket of goodies. I usually put everything in here together. I did. Okay, bear with me. All right, so what we're going to need is, I use one of these styrofoam balls that I get from the Dollar Tree. You can also get them at Walmart and most craft stores if you can't find them at the Dollar Tree. One of my Dollar Trees always has them, another one never does. So the size is 2.4 inches in case you did not see that. And what you're going to do is cut it in half. And I'm going to show that because I have had people in the past ask me how I cut them in half. And so we're going to use both sides in this project. But to cut it in half, the way that I do it, and I'm using a serrated edge. This is key for me when cutting into styrofoam. It does a good, clean, smooth cut and does not tear it up. So I'm going to push down and kind of saw. And you want to do it a little more quickly rather than slowly so your hand stays a little more steady and you get more of a straight line if you can. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to use one of these halves in each shoe, and if you notice right now it's too big. It's not going to go in there, but I have a little trick that I like to do, and I do it on several of my other gnome projects that you can see, is I like to roll it, and I just keep rolling it until I create a smaller form, and it does no harm to the styrofoam ball. It compacts it so that it will fit in here smaller, and if it doesn't fit yet, it just means I need to keep rolling. So I'm just going to keep doing that, and I'm going to check it again, and now you see we have a good fit. So I'm going to take it back out, and I'm going to apply, whoops, that box fell over on my foot. I'm going to apply, let me show you really quick. So the key in here is I'm going to apply hot glue around the inside, the upper inside, pretty good. To this. And for myself, now you do not have to do this, but I like a little bit of weight. And so these are very, very light, and the gnome stays very light. This guy I did not do this with, but this time I added a nut inside the bottom of his shoe, and it's this size right here. And it really, I'm not going to say it matters on the size because it doesn't. But you want a fairly large nut to have a little bit of weight in there. And I'm not needing to stick anything in it. I just needed it in there to hold it steady. So anyway, and I just squeezed a little bit of hot glue in there and just dropped it down on there. It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, so let's glue the inside, and I'll show you here in just a second. Let me go ahead and go around on this. It's a little hard to show and do at the same time, especially being left-handed and being right-handed with my glue gun. Doesn't make any sense, does it? So I broke my arms, I've broken both my wrists many, many, many times, and I broke my left wrist the most. And in breaking it, I learned to use my right wrist, or my right hand. So I've become kind of ambidextrous. And I can write upside down too, fun fact. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to push that in there till it's flush. And then I'm going to let this sit, okay? So because I did not do this before the tree, I'm going to go ahead and work on the scarf, the hat, and the mittens, because we can't move forward on the tree just yet until that's had a chance to set up. So this scarf came from the Dollar Tree. You can tell by the little brand. And I'm just going to take it off of here. And there's a little, what do you call it, tag thing to hold it folded. So I'm just going to take that off. And then I'm going to cut off the little strings at the end just because they get in my way. So let me just cut those off real quick. And I do want to make sure this is kind of even because I am going to be cutting more here in just a moment. Alright, so now I'm not cutting off a whole bunch. I'm just cutting off enough and trying to be fairly even. And then I'm just going to discard that. You can use that later if you like to tie your mittens, but for me, I'm going to use the trim, the yarn. Okay, so once we have that cut, now what I'm going to do, let me swipe my screen. I forgot to get those comments off, so now that I can see what I'm doing and make sure you can see as well. Okay, so the thing I want to do now, there's a little tag on here that I don't want, so I'm going to get rid of that. I'm just cutting it real close. And I can always use a little seam ripper or something, but look, it just came right out, so no big deal. Okay, let's see. I've got the volume all the way up, but I still can't hear you. Okay, so what I'm going to do, since you can't hear me very well, I have my charger plugged in, but I'm going to unplug it and plug in my microphone because I want you to be able to hear me, but my iPad is a little low on battery. So tell me if that helps. I believe it should. I'm just going to have to really get going. Is that any better for you? All right. So I apologize for not being able to hear me. I hope you can hear me a little bit better now. I could probably move a little closer as well. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut at an angle for my hat. And I use my finger to measure about a finger's width away from the corner. And that, for me, gives me the slouchy hat width that I want. So I know that it's about a finger's width. And I'm just going to eyeball it. And I'm going to cut up at an angle. I have to stand up for this, y'all. And you decide the length that you want your hat, okay? And don't worry about being perfect because we're going to glue and you're not going to see that. Actually, let's go ahead while we're still doing all this and we'll cut the mittens too. So the mittens are very, very easy. The way that I do this is I just cut a big U. A little U, really, but I mean, it's big compared to what you put on paper, right? So I'm just going to cut around. I'm basically making a thumbless mitten. And then I'm going to use this one as my template for the next one. And it doesn't have to be perfect because it kind of ends up creating itself a little thumb in a way. And remember, our edges are going to be glued and that will fix that. So there's our mittens. I'm going to separate those two. And I see one is a little bit bigger, so that's okay. All right. I'm so glad y'all can hear me. Thank you. I just need to pay attention to my battery level on there. I don't want to lose y'all. Okay. So now that I've got it cut, and I will say the trees are messy. If you didn't get to experience that yet, they do shed a whole lot. So be prepared for that. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm not going to completely take these apart. I'm just opening it up enough to be able to get to this edge, and I don't want that material falling back on it. And I'm starting at the very, very tip. So make sure you get the very tip and then just go all the way up pretty straight. All the way up on that edge. Okay, and then once you do, I don't want you doing that. Just a second. Let go. Bear with me just a minute. Let me get unglued and add a little bit more. Okay. So now that we have that, I'm going to make him wait till last because he wasn't being good. So I'm just going to start at the end and smash it together gently first. And then once I get everything laid down, I'll kind of apply more pressure. Okay, so now that I've got everything down, I'm smashing pretty good. How long and wide is the hat? So Miss Sandy, I didn't measure exactly. I can tell you my measurement of it if you'd like. So my hat is about 8.5 inches. I don't know if you can see that. Nah, zooming in is not going to help. But it's about 8.5 inches wide, and then lengthwise is probably about 16.5 inches. But honestly, I don't measure it. I just, like I said, the scarf, using the scarf is helpful because it allows you to have that finger extra. But those of you that are using material, I understand the importance of knowing a measurement. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing for this other side. We're just going to flip it over. Did you glue the styrofoam to the shoes? I did. So I cut the styrofoam in half, and then on the inside of the shoe, along the edge, I apply a good amount of hot glue and then slide that ball down in there. And if you have any questions, for those of you who are members, you know that you can ask me questions at any point in time ever, and I'm so glad to answer. But those of you that are new, that aren't aware, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask. I will do my best to see them and answer you. And if I don't, I'm sure that one of my people will be glad to help out. They are so sweet and helpful. Okay, I'm just going down the line on the edge of that material all the way to the very, very end. If you don't get the very end, you'll have to go back and do it because I've flipped them over before after not getting them, and it kind of just parts. Okay, now I'm smashing it together again. And you don't want to hurry up and flip this. You want to let it cool. If you flip it too soon and get real excited, then what happens is you don't allow the glue to set and it pulls away and it'll show that white color. So you're trying to avoid that by letting it set for a minute. So I'm going to put that out of the way and do the mittens now. So Miss Julie asked if the shoes were separate ornaments from Walmart. And yes, these particular shoes that I'm using are, but I was talking to some friends today and was told that Target has them for $3 for, I think, a pair of them. So they come in a set of 2, as opposed to Walmart having them individually for $1.98. So I would say the shoes are probably the most expensive part. I think you can have about anywhere from $5 to $7 that you'd have to put into this craft, and they sell really, really well and really quickly. Did you make the shoes? I did not make the shoes. The shoes are Christmas ornaments from Walmart, but there are multiple different ones. They have red and black at Walmart, and then there's plaid material ones, and you can see there's different size ones. Like this one right here on this guy. These came from Hobby Lobby in a set of 3 or 4 or 5, I don't remember. But they're several different craft stores and stores in general. I think even Big Lots is carrying the shoes this year. They're very, very popular because they got really popular last year. We were going out and grabbing them for Gnome shoes. And so I'm super excited that they brought them back this year. I don't recall ever seeing them before that, but I also wasn't paying attention before to know. Miss Julie says she's been looking for them every time she goes. Sometimes some Walmarts won't have them. Check out Target too and Dollar General. They all have different versions. Dollar General even has matching mittens that are the same style as their shoes, same cut pattern, excuse me, as their shoes. So I'm just doing hot glue around the very edge of both of these mittens, all the way around. Actually, I did one side and then the other. I said all the way around, but it's easier when you're doing the mittens to, just like with the hat, to do one side and then the other. And we're going to let those set. We're not going to turn them over just yet, but our hat has sat long enough now that we can turn it over and check it. So I'm going to do that right now. Sorry, I'm reading the comments really quick to make sure I don't miss anything. Miss Tanya asked how wide the mittens are. That's a great question. If you'll give me just a minute after I flip this over, I will let you know. I'm grabbing a dowel and I'm gently going to push up to push some more of the material through the top. but I don't want to push too hard because I can poke through if I'm not careful. Okay, let me look at my little hat, and it looks great. Remember those edges that were kind of wonky? They are not wonky anymore. And then let me measure these are inside out. So the inside out measurement for these is approximately 3 inches. We don't have them in the UK, says Miss Angela. I'll try using baby booties. Great idea. Baby booties will work just fine. You can make some really, really great shoes with the baby booties. Okay, I'm just kind of rolling my fingers to spread out that mitten, and I'm going to flip the other one out. Alrighty, so there's that and that. I was just checking my tips to make sure there's no openings, and there's not. I stayed inside enough. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and grab some of that trim material, and I already cut off enough so that I wasn't dragging that back out right now. And I'm just going to start with the hat, and I'm going to start where the seam is, and I'm going to work my way around. So I'm going to put a little dot of glue, or a glob of glue, I would say. What size are the trees, and does Dollar Tree have only one size? Good question. So, the trees that I'm using are 12-inch, and Dollar Tree has the best price on them by far. I'm not seeing anything else as affordable as $1. That's pretty awesome. So the what did you ask? Dollar Tree only, okay, so Dollar Tree technically only has one size, but there are other things that you can use, like I did for this little guy right here that I'll be doing in my membership club this week. This is also, the thing that I use is from the Dollar Tree, but I just try to get you guys thinking outside the box. My thing, it is so rewarding to me to share what I love with other people, and then see them be able to find joy and in just creating them, for one. And then on top of that, you know, some people are being able to make this an income opportunity, which has been fabulous. I love seeing the ability to make them to sell, as well as making them for gifts and things like that. So it's just awesome to me, and like I said, so rewarding. Alright, I'm just lining the edge of this. Oop, look at there, I went off the edge. Hold on just a second, let me clean that up really quick because I don't want to seal it. Okay. So now is probably a good time to go ahead and add this really quick, so I don't have that happen again. I got a little ahead of myself, a little excited, and was trying to do more than I knew I should. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and finish this part off, and I'll show you one of the things that I do once I get around to the beginning again. I feel like if you're using this type of material, it's very helpful. And I am overlapping the edge just a little bit. I want to hang over the edge so that it hides the seam, or the unfinished where we cut. Okay, so I've made my way back around, and when I cut this off, we're going to have this raw edge. Let me show you what I mean. So right now I'm just kind of using my fingers to spread that material apart so that I save as much as I can. And I'm just cutting the string as much as possible. I'm going to get rid of the little shed pieces. And then I have this raw edge that I want to take care of. So all I'm going to do is add a little hot glue in between them, and I'm going to push them together. But I do need to trim this little bit that is sticking up, because I don't want that to do that. What are you using for trim? Asked Miss Linda. Okay, hold on just a second and I will show you. Bear with me just a minute. Let me make sure this sets. Ooh, I think that's not good. It's on low. Sometimes I turn my hot glue gun up to high so I can heat it up pretty quick and forget, and then I burn my fingers. But right now it's on low. So yes, it is yarn from Hobby Lobby. I'll show it again. So this is Hobby Lobby. This was $6.99. I'm sure I used a coupon. And it is called Eternal Bliss White. And I have an ivory one as well, but I'm using the white one today. Okay, so now we have the hat part done. I'm going to set that aside. I'm going to go ahead and grab, let me check my battery. I don't think I can. I'm glad I didn't flip my screen around, because if I double tap, most of the time it flips the camera and you'd have been looking at my box of ribbon. So the same thing I'm going to do for the mittens, making sure I don't go off of the edge this time, which I almost did. And then I'm just going to squish that onto there and work my way around. I know you guys see me getting stuck with the glue and stuff like that. They have hot glue finger savers or whatever you call them at Dollar Tree, but I am stubborn and I like to get in there and get messy. So it's an afterthought for me. I would think, oh, I need to put those on, and I never think about it. So until my fingers are burned. But if you do your glue gun on low, you should be fine, or I will be fine. You all see it backwards. I will try and share a picture of that in the comments after the live is over. I'll see if I can find it. But it's just it's called Eternal Bliss White, and the brand is Yarn Bee. So one glove done. Let's get this other one done really quick. Same thing. Hello, Miss Linda. She's Miss Linda Unuk. I'm not sure how to say your last name, but hello. Thank you. I'm so glad that you feel I explain well. That is one of my strong desires, is I want things to be clear and well understood and easy. I want you to look at something and go, man, I don't think I could ever make that. And then when you watch me, I want you to feel like, holy cow, I know I could make that now. Okay, bear with me just a minute. Let me get this little thing stuck all the way around. And I'm just gently pressing it all the way around. Now I'm going to trim off that excess. I'm going to apply a little bit of hot glue right in the middle. And I'm going to smash it together. All right. So glad y'all are enjoying this. Okay, bear with me. I'm going to put a little bit more hot glue on here just because I really want this to be a finished off mitten, like where you have a hard time figuring out where it started and ended. All right. Get rid of that excess. Okay, so now we have our mittens, our hat, and I think our shoes are ready. So we're going to grab our tree. Let me go ahead and tip up just a little bit because I want you guys to be able to see the top. So what I'm going to do, and I might, you know what? I wrapped this, and I didn't end up doing it the first time, so I'm actually going to unwrap it because I need a little bit of flexibility. I'll wrap it after I stick the shoes in because I want to be able to maneuver that so that it will fit into the shoes. Okay, so this is a little bit of a tricky part to show. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift the skirt of the tree so you can see underneath here. Let's see. Nope. You know what else? I'm getting ahead of myself again. I have got to glue these shoes together so that they don't go everywhere. So let me cut off this little piece of the ornament. And like I said, these came from Walmart and they were $1. I don't think you can see that. $1.98 for each one. And let's see. Now we're going to glue them together. So right now what I'm doing is I'm looking to see what the touch points are. And I know I want them to be flush. And I know that one of the touch points is right here in the front, but I need to figure out where another touch point is. And it looks like right here is going to be another touch point, as well as up here. So I'm going to pull, hang on, let me look one more time. Okay, I see where I want to glue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply a little bit of hot glue where I know there's a touch point in the front. I'm going to apply a little bit of hot glue where I know there's a touch point down here. And then I'm going to apply a decent amount of hot glue where I know is a large touch point. And I'll show you where I've applied hot glue. And now I'm going to get those and I'm just going to stick them together. And I'm just trying to make sure that they're even. And I will need to hold this for just a minute. I apologize for not doing this a little bit earlier. What brand glue gun do you use? Mine only has a high setting. Okay, so this glue gun is called, the brand is AdTech, and I believe I got it at Walmart. You can get it on Amazon. It's a 2-temp, dual temp is what it says, and I have a little toggle, so a little switch at the bottom that says high and low. Bear with me just another minute. I just really want to make sure that these are set together. I don't want to rush this part because this is important. Miss Carrie says, I've watched you for a little while. I make gnomes to sell, and I'm thankful for all the little pieces of advice I've picked up from you along the way. You've helped me perfect things that used to give me issues. Well, that is awesome. That is my hope and my goal. And Miss Jen says she's so excited to be learning how to do this. I'm so glad you're here. If you guys would be willing, please sprinkle and let everybody know if you like this tutorial. That would mean the world to me, for sure. And then don't forget, go over and join our little Tenderfoot Villagers group. Get in there and share and learn from each other. We have so much fun in there. And then if you're interested, join the TFV Makers Club and learn even more. So let me just tell you, okay, so really quick, I want to, now we're ready. Okay, so what we're going to do is, see if I can show this. I want to make sure you guys can see that these are going side by side. I'm sorry, I'm trying to make sure that this is in the best view for you. So my goal is to line these up, and this is probably the slowest process. I just want to make sure I get these where I want them. And then I'm just gently pressing. It will press right down into that styrofoam. It is amazing how well that works. And they're in there now. Perfect. So we're going to take it back out. And we're going to apply hot glue. I do a significant amount in each of these holes. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to squeeze about 4, maybe even 5, maybe 6 pumps of hot glue into here. This is very, very important for the ability of our gnome to hold up for a long time. And I see where my glue has sunk in a little bit, which is great, but I wanted to add a little bit more. So do not, I would say go crazy on that, adding glue on that part. So now I'm just going to slide these down into those holes, and you go to where you prefer. And then I'm going to make sure that I like the position, and I'm going to start smashing my little branches down around his body. Okay? This is such a fast craft. If I wasn't showing you guys, this would probably take me 15 minutes. The longest part is gluing or sewing, whatever you choose, the hat and mittens, really and truly. And the beard, I guess. Okay, so the next thing that I want to do is prepare my beard and prepare my nose. Ah, okay. I was like, where did my nose go? I found it. Okay, so let's do the beard first. And someone mentioned something about the beard. Hold on just a second. I wanted to read that comment. Bear with me. Hello, hello to my new people. Susan Weeks said, I've never cut the beard correctly. All right, let's do a little mini beard tutorial real quick. This won't take but a minute, but I think it's important for anybody wanting to do the beard. So I bought this at Joann's, and they are notorious for cutting a straight line, and you can see what happens, which, I mean, it's fine, but I like a more natural look to my beard, so I like the overhang. And in order to achieve that, what you have to do is you have to cut it from the back. And the way that I work on my faux fur is on the material, I always work from the top to the bottom. So when I'm cutting chunks of beard off, I start at the top, not the bottom, because I want to avoid the straight edge and I want to get as many pieces out of it as I can. So in order to cut your beard, after you've measured however much of a section, let me get you down here with me real quick so you can see this. So one of the things that's really important is I love to use an X-Acto knife, and I need to quit using this one because I don't recommend it. I recommend one with a little screw rather than a trigger, because you could easily pop it open, and I just feel like it's not quite as safe. So I recommend when you're cutting a large piece of faux fur to use a box cutter, not an X-Acto knife. The X-Acto knives, their blades get dull really quickly, and they also require you to work a lot harder, your arm and everything, and it can tire you out quickly. So for me, because I cut so much, I use a box cutter. So what I like to do is, there's a little grid on the back of here, and I just like to gently apply pressure, and you kind of have to play with it for yourself. So you have to figure out when you're doing this, and I suggest having like just an extra piece that you play with, and you just want to just cut through the back enough to cut through that grid without cutting a whole lot of the material in front of it. And of course you're going to cut a tiny little bit, so don't stress out about it. But I believe that if you do it a few times, you'll develop a feel for how much pressure you need and how much is too much. And then that way you can have that overhang. And then once you're done cutting it, you want to use a comb and just kind of brush out that excess material. I hope that was a good explanation for you for your beards, and maybe gives you a little bit of help. All right, let's see. Bear with me really quick. Let me just catch up on you guys. Thank you so much, Roxanne, for the wonderful compliment. Miss Danny Nina Sanchez asked if this will be available on YouTube later. Yes, the replays are always available afterwards. And bear with me just a second. Let me grab my material. So this is my fleece material, and you can see it is just cut to, I just pick a place and go after it. I don't have a set spot that I do. So I'm going to go with this section, and I'm just going to cut a pretty decent size square-ish. Does not have to be perfect. Those of you that do like to have an idea, I'm sorry if this is giving you anxiety. I apologize. And then I'm going to grab some polyfill, which is under my table, unfortunately. Bear with me just a second. I was cleaning up earlier and forgot that I needed that for the inside of my nose. Okay, let me scoot my chair back up. Yes, Marina said Joanne cuts fur with scissors. Yes, it's a nightmare. Okay, so I'm just using about a hand-sized wad of polyfill, and this may not be enough, and it may be too much. But the way to find that out for myself is remember I said I like big noses, so I'm going for about at least 2 inches in size. So when I get it in the middle of that material, I like to pull up on opposite ends. And I'm using my finger to kind of press down. And then I grab a third section, so opposite and then the third section, and then I'm going to tuck in a little bit, grab another section, and I'm just going to start kind of bunching it up. And I see I have a little opening here, so I'm going to tuck that in and I'm going to pull it up. And then I'm just kind of rubbing, and it's forcing the material to kind of compress a little bit. So it's like forcing it to create that shape that I'm looking for. And I'm almost to where I want it. After you do it a few times, you kind of develop a feel for what you want. And you can make this as tight or as loose as you want. I do not want a tiny nose, so I'm trying to get a little bit looser. I'm also trying to remember to keep all my edges pulled. Let me grab a couple of elastics. So if you're going to use the elastics, I recommend grabbing 2 or 3. I do at least 2, but 2 or 3 of them, and then going around. If you try using one, for me, I'm rough on them and I pop them. But I've found that if I put 2 or 3 together, I almost never pop them. So there's my nose, and this one is a little bit smaller than the first one I made, but that's okay. It's still a big nose that I like. And let me show you, this is what I was talking about as an alternative. This is a Christmas ornament. They're at the Dollar Tree. They come in a whole bunch. And they don't have a color that I can see on here, but I will tell you there is a difference. This is more of a rose gold rather than a yellow gold. I don't know if you can see. It's kind of buffed looking too. And that's what I would choose if I did not go for the fleece ball. And it's similar in size. I mean, it's a little bit smaller, but to me, this would work just fine. And I believe that's what the Daily DIYer used in her original video. You guys, if you choose to go over to the Daily DIYer after I mentioned her, please go over there. She's got some amazing tutorials and she does all kinds of stuff. Make sure you let her know that I sent you. I would love for her to know that I have sent some love her way. All right, so now I'm ready. So what I want to do, I don't want to just guess where my beard and where my nose is going to go. Thank you for sprinkling, Miss Donna. So the way that I keep from guessing is I kind of mock set up so that I know where everything needs to go. So to do that, I put my hat on and I kind of work things out. Bear with me just a minute. Trying to figure out which way the lean is wanting to go. No way, apparently right now. We'll make it go away in a minute. Go a direction in a minute. There we go. Okay, so now what I want to do is figure out how long I want my beard. And you can see on this guy, he's probably about halfway up the tree for the bottom of his beard. So in order to achieve that, I know that it's going to be about right there, which also means that I'm about 1 inch to 1.5 inches below the top of that tree. So once I get it where I want it, I smooth it first. I'm looking at it because I want to try and make sure that it's even before I glue it down. I'm about to glue it. So I kind of just mess with it and position it how I want. I think that's going to be fabulous. So once I get it where I want it, I'm using my thumb to hold on, and then I'm going to fold down that top so I never move my beard, so I don't lose my position. And then I'm just going to apply a significant amount of glue up here at the top because I want it to hold on. And this is going to be the only place where there is glue. And so then I roll it up, and I'm going to smash it around. And then, let me see where my comb is. I've hidden it from myself. Now, I'm going to take and I'm just going to comb down that beard. You don't have to do this. I just like to. I feel like it gets any excess faux fur, little stragglers. You can see it does help clean it up a little bit. Hello, Miss Orly. All right, let me see. I'm just scrolling back real quick to make sure I didn't miss any questions. Oh, Miss Cheryl has some yucky weather. What size is the beard? Asks Miss Tanya. Good question. Let's see. So, I generally do, this is about 4.5 inches wide, and this is about 5.5 inches long. So 4.5 by 5.5, or 4.5 by 5, 3.5 by 5. That's generally kind of the area that I like to stay in for larger gnomes. Okay, so now we have his beard on. Now I'm ready to stick this nose on here, but I have a whole lot of excess fleece that I need to cut off of here. So I'm not going to cut all of it off, but I do want to cut it down. So to do that, I use my thumb as a guide, as a measurement, and I stay just above a thumb width. Just to have, this creates excess hold, or extra hold, excess hold. This creates extra hold underneath that hat that nobody can see. And I get rid of that. And there is his nose. Oh my goodness, he's going to be so stinking cute. I can already tell. Just doing that. That is so awesome. Where did you get the tree? Miss Linda asked where I got the trees. So the trees, it's 2 from the Dollar Tree. They are the tabletop trees. They have green and white. You could grab either one. Do not be discouraged if you cannot find the green. Okay, so guys, what I'm doing is trying to make sure I have it where I want it. So I want the top of the nose to sit right at the top of that tree. So now I'm just going to apply a good amount of hot glue because I don't want this nose coming off. And I'm going to stick it right up there. Let me turn him to me so I can see that I'm centered and even. Oh, you know what I did? I knew. Hold on just a second. He's going to fall apart. Let me grab some embroidery floss because the heat of the glue gun busted my elastic. Bear with me just a quick moment. I apologize. I should have known better. I don't use fleece material very often anymore. I more use clay, and I completely forgot about doing that. So y'all just bear with me. It happens. It's not a big deal. We can fix it. I am going to use elastic again, but this time I'm also going to use embroidery floss so that when I bust it, it's protected. So I'm just sticking that all back in there. Bear with me just a minute. We will get this worked out. It's not a big deal. And my elastics are right here. It is a learning lesson, and I'm so glad that I can do it with y'all because I'm not afraid. I know that mistakes are going to happen and silly stuff happens all the time. But, you know, you just work through it. You just find a way. There's always a way. So I'm going to get that other stuff out of there. And let me loosen this up just a hair. I'm on top of old glue now that is fighting against me. There we go. Okay, let's put his nose back on here and see if he's still going to be all right, which my vote is yes, he's going to be fine. Yep, just fine. He's going to work. Okay, so now let me take this embroidery floss, and I do it a little different. Miss Diane said she loves my patience. Man, I'm telling you, once you do it enough times, you realize, you know, stuff's going to happen. And if I can show you guys that it's okay, we don't have to panic, we can work through it, we will find a way. That's another thing that I love about our group is everybody is so willing to share. And we don't keep secrets. We're not trying to like hide what technique this was or that was or whatever. We want to encourage each other to grow and to know how to do this and to feel successful. I think it feels really good when you can feel like successful and to know that somebody helped you do that. That's okay. Everybody needs help. It takes a village, right? All right, let's see. Let's see. reading the comments real quick. Yepper's like putting the foam ball upside down in the sock. Yes, ma'am. That happens. It does. Okay, so let me get this closed and out of the way. And let's get this nose on this guy. So again, I know that I want it about right there. Yep, right there. So once again, lots of hot glue. Not trying to be sparing on this. We want it to hold on. And then I'm just going to stick it right on the front, and I want to make sure it's even, so that's what I'm doing right now, is making sure it's even with his shoes. And there we go. He's fabulous already. Okay, so now I need to let this set for just a second in case there's some glue that has oozed just a little bit. So why don't we work on his hands? So the way that I do that, let me get up here, and I didn't close my drawer underneath, sorry about that, is I try to grab about 2 or 3 strands. I try to do it fairly even. It's just kind of trial and error. You just kind of have to look at it for a minute and figure out what strands you want to work with. And I know that I want them to be the longer strands. 1, 2, I think I've got the 3 that I want. So let me get these littler pieces out of my way. So I'm just kind of manipulating them with my hand. So now I have the hand pieces that I want to use right here. And I may change my mind. I may not like the way they sit at first. But I won't know until I put a mitten on and manipulate it. Bear with me just a minute. So there's one. Let me see if I like it. Let's get this one in there too. Okay, there's one hand. Hi. And then we're going to do this other hand. Let me get these kind of out of the way. Grab that other mitten. Looks like this is wanting to be a fourth one. I don't normally do 4. Bear with me just a second. Nope, I don't like that one. Hold on just a sec. Let's try a little bit higher on this one. I would say this is probably the part that takes a little bit of time because you have to decide where you want it. And we may move it again. I don't glue them down until I'm for sure that I like where they're going to sit. Now, what I do is, when I get the hat, I look at the hat first because the way that we've cut it causes it to slouch over. And I need to figure out which direction that's going to go. And I also need to figure out which side I want it to be on. Do I want it to be on this side? I think I'm going to do this side this time. So I'm going to go ahead and stick his hat on. So cute already, mister. So now I'm just kind of making it extra slouchy. And then to do his little knot, I like to I just take a piece of this and tuck it under itself, just knotting itself basically, and pulling it through. And then I just kind of manipulate it to where I want it. Right there. Y'all, he's so cute. He's so cute already. Okay, he's not quite done though, right? We still have a couple of things. Oh, shoot, I wanted to show y'all this. Check this out. This is a hat that I got from the Dollar Tree, and it was really thick. You can use this as beard if you want to, or various other things. But it was like 2 or 3 inches wide. So I folded it inside out and glued half of it inside. And these work great as little hats for these guys too. They work fabulous. So I just wanted to show you that really quick, that you can use the Dollar Tree hats as well. So if you don't want to make one out of the scarf, you do have options. All right, let's look at this again. Okay, there we go. There's your hat back, sir. Okay. All right, so now we want to add Christmas lights. And I get my Christmas lights. I'm so glad that I can make you laugh, Miss Jennifer. I just like talking to my gnomes. They're my friends. And they're so cute. They have so much personality. You got to tell them about it. They deserve to hear it, right? So anyway, I'm sorry, I didn't show you the Christmas lights. So I got these Christmas lights at Dollar Tree. They're 20 strand, and they're plenty for our little gnome. So I'm going to go ahead and unwind this real quick. And I need to plug it in because I want to see kind of how, I think that's what I did the first time when I added it. I want to see kind of how it's going to fall. I think it'll help me make sure that I get it where I want it to. Now I'm just scooting down some of these tree pieces real quick. All right, let's plug in our lights for a second. Okay. And one of the things that I think I did the first time was I just started at the back so that I knew where that was going to run out. So, I believe that's what I did. I may have started at the front the first time. So I'm just loosely like letting the lights kind of do the work for me. I'm not trying to like get up in there and be all, this one has to go here and that one's there. The lights are already zigzag, so they're working really well for me. And I'm not going to mess with that at all. I think that it's great. And there's just enough that they make it all the way back around. And then we'll pull his hat down a little bit in the back. Y'all, he's so stinking cute. He just turns out so well. Okay, so now, finishing touch, you can add whatever you'd like. I think I want to add a little present. I like the little presents. They have 3 different styles that I saw at my Dollar Tree. And let's see, I'm going to snip this off. And I would love to see your tree gnomes when you make them. If you decide to make a Christmas tree gnome, if you will tag my name or say Sarah from Tenderfoot Village or something like that so that I can see. I love seeing what you guys do. So let's see. Ooh, that one's cute too. I already did that one. Okay, so now I think that might be too much white. Okay, I'm thinking that one's too much white. I think I'm going to do this one. Add a little pop of that gold and red. That's real pretty. Okay, so I like this glove just fine. So I'm going to go ahead and add a little squeeze of hot glue inside there. Bear with me just a second. I need to refill my glue gun. So I'm just adding a dot of glue to the back, to the new glue stick, and sticking it in the back. And it doesn't matter if you got the white or the colored, you can use either one, so don't panic. Okay, so now that I have that on there, what I like to do for this part, if I'm going to have him hold one of these presents, I arc that hand pretty hard. And then I fit this by the corner, I stick that corner in. And then he just holds on to it. And now he's waving and saying hi to everybody, with bringing his present. And so to finish this off, I will glue a little bit of hot glue right here on the inside of the hand. And I'll gently smash it to that box. And the reason I'm gently doing it instead of really pressing, I want it to look natural. And if I press too hard, I might flatten that glove too much. I want it to look a little bit more realistic. I'm glad you like my hot glue trick. And then on the inside here, I'm just going to add a little bit of hot glue right here. Can you see? Right here on this side close to his beard. I'm not going to add it all the way to the end, but more so in the inside corner, the closest part to him. And then I'm just going to push it back and kind of allow, I'm pressing the like up underneath the beard to that material to kind of grab a hold of it. But I really want it to be more natural. I want it to look natural. That's it. That is all she wrote for my little Christmas tree gnome. You can play with the lights a little bit and pull them down how you like. So another alternative, if you don't do the beard, you do not have to. You can paint your beard with this white chalk paint. You can get this at Walmart. I believe Target also sells white chalk paint. But that's pretty much it. If you like this tutorial, please share or sprinkle. I don't know. Anyway, I don't know if you can say that word. I was told you probably couldn't, but you guys just please let me know. I'd love to see your work if you make one. I hope you enjoyed this. I'd love to see you in the Tenderfoot Villagers group or in the Makers Club. Y'all have a wonderful rest of your day. I am so happy that you stopped by. Let's see, somebody asked really quick. Hold on just a second. Did you make the hands? I did, Miss Linda. They're towards the beginning of the video. All right. Thank you so much. Y'all have a fabulous day. I will see you later. And say hi sometime if you see me around. Bye.